Hello everyone and welcome. As usual, I'm DJ Zelx from Team Lone Wolf, here with a thorough tutorial on IR. This will be part of a series that I will be running on just how to get started with IR, how to play it, how stuff works. And this first video is going to be the machines of IR. Please notice that these videos will be kind of short. That's mostly just because a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be covering isn't too hard in and of itself in all totality. So first thing we're going to want is we're going to want a lot of resources. Now I haven't compiled a full list for each of the machines. However, for the first two I have most of the parts, and the last three I kind of succinct it a bit more to the final blocks you will be needing, mostly because a lot of those blocks I will be kind of covering in the first two machines. And also because this is a tutorial on immersive railroading, not on immersive engineering. If you want an immersive engineering tutorial, I'm sure you can find one, but that's not really what we're doing here. But I will be kind of going over them just because it's good to know, and it'll be useful for getting kind of an idea on how much resources you're going to really be needing just to get all this done. So the first thing we're going to be making is two key tools. Well, actually, we're going to be making one key tool. And we won't be really using this one too much, but it's mostly just to show that it's here. So you're going to need a book and 6 steel. You'll notice that a lot of the stuff in this mod requires steel. Now you're going to want to be making like 2 bars with the steel and then a book in the center, and it'll be making the immersive railroading manual. Now, this is useful because it can give you outlines for the various machines. If you shift right click it, if you click an arrow, it will give you the wiki. And if you aim it down, you'll see kind of a ghost. And if you right click with the ghost, it will tell you what all you need. We won't be going with a lot of that. I'll be showing you how to do a lot of this manually, just to give you a better idea. So this is a lot of the resources you're going to be needing. I do have a bit more steel than I'll actually need. That's because I assumed that I miscounted somewhere down the line, and we'll probably be needing it somewhere there. It's also just a good use to have extra steel since you're going to be using it to make a lot of the other stuff down the road. So the first thing we're going to be wanting to make is actually some pretty simple Minecraft blocks. So we're going to be wanting stone. We're just going to want to make just a ton of stone blocks. And I seem to have miscounted somewhere. Oh, I do remember where I miscounted. There we go. Yes, I did miscount. That was my bad. So you're going to want, and I think it said 116. What was it? Oh, well. That completely and totally just fucked up everything, because I was not thinking. Really quickly grab all this. But as you can see, if you have the materials and you right click, it will build the actual structure. It does look like I have 2 stone that I'm missing. That's interesting. I thought I had gotten a full count, but I guess not. So you'll actually be needing 2 full stacks of stone. I should clear up this weather. Now also, while I'm doing this, you'll notice that I've got like the outlines of the machines down, but you'll might have also noticed that I've got them in different colors. Those colors indicate heights. Mostly, they'll all kind of be within a certain area. The casting basin you're going to be want to be careful with because the actual basin itself, yeah, I think it is actually called the basin. The basin itself actually extends out a small bit, so you will want to be careful on that regard. Good lord. Shame on me. Let me real quickly give myself some stone. There we go. Okay. Now we have enough resources. That was my bad. I must have completely and totally miscounted when I was doing this earlier. There we go. So now we have enough stone bricks. So let me grab the sand, because you're going to want the sand and stone bricks at the same time. Quick note, you'll notice that I have some dirt in here. That's just because we'll probably be wanting to use that to get up to higher places when we're building. So what you're going to want to do is, you see this big old outline. It's 5 by... $16, sorry. It's 5 by 16. This is the big area that the actual mold is going in, and quote-unquote mold, since we don't actually have molds. This is the only part of this machine that is non-directional. So you can build this and then decide which side you want the actual basin on. Because the basin is pretty big. It actually extends out 1 block on either side. So you're going to want to be making a shell with this. Whoops. This way I'm going to need a brand new pickaxe. And that's okay that I placed that there. And then inside that shell, you're going to want to fill it with the sand that you've got. Now, do make sure it is in fact sand and not sandstone. Just actually fully finish this out. There you go. You're going to want to make this 3 tall. Or 3 layers tall. I apologize that you will hear rapid clicking from my mouse. It's a very mechanical mouse. Not a whole lot I can do about it. So as I finish up here, I appear to have... Oh, of course I have 2 extra. So yeah, you'll have some extra stone bricks when you're done with this. You can just use it for decoration. So there we go. So here's the where the mold is going to be. Now for the fun part. Let me quickly get myself some proper lighting. So here's where the interesting part comes in, and I truly do mean interesting. Quick note, I did not get a full count in regards to how many steel I needed in this regard, so just note that. But we're going to need about, let's see, yeah, we're going to need about 32 of these steel rods. There we go. Ah, shoot. Just screwed up that count. And then you're going to want... Let's see. Well, I have to... There we go. So you're going to want 10. 10? No, that doesn't sound right. In the least bit. No, you need 11 in each. That's right. So let me really quickly make that. Sadly, none of these really quite equal a lot of the time, like are perfect numbers. So you'll notice that that is part of the reason why I kind of screwed up that number. So you're going to want 33 actually of the steel rods and the steel ingots, and you're going to want to make steel scaffolding out of this. Now, this is an important recipe to remember because we're going to use it for 2 other machines. And 3 of each, or 3 of the steel rods and 3 ingots makes 6 steel scaffolding. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to just kind of flesh out this base right here. We do want to keep these corners empty. Not because something goes in there, but just because I don't want to have to make even more piece steel scaffold. Now, the good thing about steel scaffolding is that you can climb up it. It acts just like a ladder. So don't be afraid to accidentally fall down when making this. And it'll just make this big enclosure. And then you've got 3 extra scaffolding, which might be helpful because I think I did a miscount on the next parts. So here comes, quote unquote, some of the fun part of doing all this. So you're going to want to make blast bricks. Now, again, this is not a tutorial on immersive engineering. However, I will be going over how to make blast bricks. So you're going to want, I think I screwed this up already. Put the nether brick there. Put the brick here. Oh, no, I did make that right. Okay. So you're going to want 27 in all the slots. The brick will make kind of a plus, and the nether brick will make an X shape, if you will, with the center being the blaze powder, sorry. And that'll give us that. Now, I'm putting down, this is dirt, and grabbing the metal ladders that I've got stored here, because it's going to be actually going out kind of wide like this. Now, again, note that I am leaving this center area hollow. I'll be kind of explaining that in just a moment. And now you can kind of see what I was talking about by it extends out. Now you're going to want to make this, and I don't remember actually how tall you're going to make this. But you need to put down a layer, and then you just kind of need to make this empty shell, if you will. Again, leave these crevices open, because we'll be filling those in later with something different. Not sure if I miscounted or if that's actually how high it needs to be. I think I miscounted somewhere. Hold on. Remember that book I was telling you about? Yeah, I'm gonna use it. Figure out what it is I've screwed up. Okay, I do need more blast brick. Well, son of a bitch. No, I can't get myself blast brick. So let me just get myself some blaze powder then. I'll actually need that. It's it's a 1:6 ratio. So you'll actually need 28 in each slot. Actually 29. No, I'm sorry. That's a lie again. It's 29. You'll need 29 in each slot. Let me get just a bunch of brick. 32 should be more than enough. And then nether brick. Did I? Oh, hold on. Can't be spaces. Okay, there we go. Now we've got enough. Okay. So let me shift all this over to the side. So you want to make this, what is that, 4 high? I think that's what it is. Here, let me fall down. Ow. So yeah, you're going to want to make it 4 high. And then again, leave that crevice open because we're about to fill it in. So this is kind of where it gets a bit weird, if you will. So I'm actually going to make some hammers. These are the immersive engineering hammers, and I'm making 3 of them. I don't remember how much durability they actually have. That's mostly just to cover my ass. So you're gonna want, I think it is actually in fact 16 that I'm gonna need. So that's great. Yeah, it is. So you're gonna want to make these steel mechanical components, and under normal circumstances, they're 4 steel plate and a copper. However, if you are using the engineer's tool or workbench, it's actually 2 of the plate and 1 copper. That's more of just kind of immersive engineering stuff, so I won't really go over that. It makes life a bit easier. It halves the cost of these steel-wise, and also has the cost of the iron mechanical components, which we'll be covering on the next machine. So let me go ahead and grab these. And I'm going to want to put them here and here. I'm going to grab the piston here and here. Now, for quick recollection, oh shoot, this is how you make a piston. It's 3 wood, 1 iron, 1 redstone, and 4 cobblestone. So we're going to want 16 iron, 16 redstone, 50 something cobblestone. I can't math right now. Sorry. So you're going to want to put some Electrum in the middle, and then you just want to surround the entire thing with steel. Lovely. I have enough steel for the next part that I have to go about. So that'll give us these heavy engineering blocks. Then you're going to want to actually make a singular block of steel, and I kind of almost made extra. But we're going to want to make that block of steel. Kind of. Ow. Let me actually climb in through here. Make the weather go away. Now, with this block of steel, you want to just put it right here. This is going to become the spout for the basin, in case you're trying to figure out what in the world it's going to be. And now we're going to fill in this crevice with these heavy engineering blocks. And you'll notice that it does make 1 extra. Again, some of these counts may be slightly off because you might have extra of certain blocks. That's good. Means you can kind of reuse the blocks, if you will, and use slightly less of them. And that's why I'm not giving specific item counts to make all of these, because there will be a small bit of reuse that you can have between previous builds. So now I'm going to want to grab this creative storage or energy cube. I'll explain that in a second. And then we're going to make a tool that you're going to want to remember how to make, because this is a really important tool. That is the wrench for immersive engineering or immersive railroading. It looks just like a normal wrench build, except it's upside down. And it gives you the large wrench, which is immersive engineering's wrench. And you're just going to want to right click on that block, on actually any block. And you notice it makes this big old, well, kind of almost textureless object. Now if we go up here, you'll notice that there's this big open area and a little yellow spot. You're going to want to take your energy however you want to supply. I'm using just energy cubes in this specific case, but if you're using immersive engineering, you're going to want to put down the little energy connectors. That's what it was. Almost about to say energy relays. You don't use those. Energy connectors on this yellow spot. So if I just right click it, and this now has energy. Now, if we right-click it, you'll see a GUI. I'll explain the GUI in a moment, but if you, I'll quickly just explain. Right here, you'll see 0 out of 810. That's how much iron you have that you can use. So, for example, if I think actually I could just put this. Oh, I guess it doesn't count steel rods. So if I just throw the iron in there, you'll notice that it's now 1 out of 810. So we'll be going over this a bit more in detail in a later episode, but that's just kind of how that works for a quick explanation. And there are easy way to automate that is just have conveyors go up and over and just throw the iron onto or steel onto the conveyors. I'm gonna put all this in here and on to the next machine. So the next machine is the not the plate roller, the I think it's just called the boiler machine. That's what it's referred to as. And these are roughly the materials you're gonna need. You'll be needing stone slabs. I'm gonna really quickly put them down. You're gonna want to make kind of this almost 12 3x4 platform on either side of this. It's a my brain won't work today. It's an 8x6 machine. However, you'll notice that it's only really 6 in like right in the middle. Otherwise, it's actually by 4. And we're actually going to remake those heavy machine blocks. You notice I've got heavy engineering blocks, and that's kind of why I said about you might reuse parts of them in other locations. Oops. Let me really quickly make the plates that I'll need. And I'll explain why I've got extra copper there in a second. So 2 there, and we make some heavy engineering. No, I didn't clear it. And we're going to want to put the heavy engineering on this little outcrop right there. Now, what do we put in the rest? Well, the rest is going to be the light engineering blocks. Light engineering blocks are made fairly similarly, actually, to the rest of it, if you will. To the heavy engineering blocks. However, I don't fully remember the recipe off the top of my head. So here you go, and again, it makes 2 just like with the heavy engineering blocks. You're going to want 8 of these iron mechanical components. So let me just really quickly. There we go. Or not 8. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? You're going to need 8 components. You're going to need 32 of these plates, and that's why I made multiple of these engineer's hammer, because I figured I would actually go through one. There we go, 32. And again, just like with the steel components, you're going to want to put it kind of around the outside there. I think I might have actually used up some extra iron I didn't want to use. Oops. We'll find out in a second. No, I did fine. No, I didn't. I need more components. Whoops. I thought I had enough copper. Guess not. Real quickly, just grab myself some copper. Does it not have copper? Quickly give myself some extra copper. I really didn't want to go into creative while doing this, but looks like I might have to. Yeah, I'll need 4. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so, like before, put these iron plates like this. And you got the iron mechanical components. 2 there, 2 there. There we go. Light engineering block. Okay. So, and again, just with this one, you right-click it with the wrench anywhere, and it will make the machine. And again, you'll notice you've got that yellow spot where we put our creative energy cube. And this now has power. And again, I'll kind of explain this in a second. Or I'll go over this more in detail in another episode, but this is essentially how you make boilers. Or, well, it's part of how you make boilers. So the next part is the steam hammer. Now, as a quick note, the steam hammer does not currently use up steam. It currently actually just uses energy to run. We may be changing that in the near future, so just be aware of that. So in order to make it, we're going to need a piston, 9 steel ingots, and then 10 light and 3 heavy. You'll notice that now that I've kind of gone over the 3 immersive engineering blocks, I'm just going to start using the actual blocks themselves instead of creating them on camera. And that's just to kind of speed up this process. So make a block of steel. Going to put that right in the middle. And you'll notice this is just a 1x5. This probably takes up the least amount of space, actually out of all of them, just in general. So you're going to want to put one on either side like this. Up one. You're going to want to bring them in. Oh, whoops. Pick that up because I screwed up that. Jeez, I'm just screwing up all over the place on this. There we go. Okay. So you're going to want to kind of make this weird shape. Kind of curls in. Then in that little slot, you're going to want to put these 2 heavies. The piston on top of that. And then a heavy on top of that. And again, right click anywhere and it'll make the machine. You notice this one looks a lot nicer. Now the question is, where in the world is the energy go on this one? Well, this one's kind of wonky in that it's, while it is up here, it's not visible, but it is there. So if you right click it, you'll see the starts to animate. This is the only one that has an idle animation. But now this is running. And again, I'll kind of go over these in a bit more detail when I'm going over how to actually make rolling stock. So the next part is the Plateformer. This is what you're going to need. It's, what was that? 88 of the light engineering, 41 of the heavy, and then 90 of the steel scaffolding. Now, in order to make this, you're going to want to actually just take this steel scaffolding and just run all the way down this. And you'll notice that this and the last machine are very, very long. These probably take up, realistically, the most space out of all of them. There we go. There we go. You'll notice this looks almost kind of like a conveyor belt. It should. It's going to be a conveyor belt. So next is the light engineering blocks, and you're going to want to start by just kind of running them along the edges of this conveyor belt, if you will. Oh, hello. That is not what that's supposed to swap out with. Oops. I'll pick up that stray one in just a second. There we go. Now, in about the middle section, I'm actually going to use, there we go, bring this up. Excuse me, sheep. Sorry. You're kind of in my way. So there we go. And then, yeah. So then you want to make kind of a ceiling out of the heavy. We do want this area to be clear. Just to clarify. There we go. And then right about here, and while this isn't symmetrical, you can have it on either side. It's not super important which way you have it. You kind of need to make this. Kind of screwed that up, didn't I? Yeah, it is. Oops. I did do that, right? Yeah. Okay. Second guessing myself, Jesus. You're gonna want to put a heavy just kind of right there. And if I made this correctly, it should be forming up. Hold on, let me grab that. Again, the immersive railroading manual is very useful. Plate machine. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like I built that correctly. Let me kind of pull these off. See where I went wrong. Yep. Okay, so it needs to be inset by 1. That's what I did wrong. So it is actually just straight smack dab in the middle like this. However, you'll have the engineering off to one side. And it is important to have this 2-block gap and 1-block gap on either side of it. So if you decide to flip this around, it'll be 1 here, heavy, and then 2 space there. And I will be explaining what that's kind of useful for as soon as I get this built. As you can see, it's the conveyor like I mentioned earlier. If we go up, actually I'm forgetting something really important. Oops, no, pick it up. There you go. If we run over here, you notice there's that, oops, there's that yellow spot. And now this is running. I believe actually on this side there's a red kind of slot right here. That's not really of much use. It just turns the machine on and off. I think it's one of 2 that actually have that. It's not really of much use, to be entirely honest, so don't worry about it too much. So next we'll be needing 44, 16, and 32. That's 44 steel scaffolding, 16 heavy, and 32 light for our last machine. This is the Railformer. Now, again, you're going to want to kind of make this almost conveyor-like bit. Now, you're going to want to stop after, what's it? I'll have to. So, what, like 12, I think is how many I just counted? No, I didn't. I counted 11. My eyes tricking me? I swear. Okay. I'm fairly certain that's 11. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it is 11 by 2. So you're going to want to make this. And then you're going to want to leave kind of an open space, which is 2 by 8. So 2 by 8. And then you're going to want to fill out the rest with the 22 steel scaffolding you have left. This is one that's kind of strange because it doesn't have an open slot like this one does. But you're going to want to make almost like a sandwich. So you're going to want 16 light on the bottom, the 16 heavy in the middle, a 16 light on top of that. And again, right click with the wrench. Ooh, hello. That was weird. And you get this machine. Now, technically speaking, this does have a direction, but it's not super important, in my opinion, because you just right click on the machine either side and it still works. So, in order of the things we've built, we've made the crafting basin. The I think it's just called the boiler plate maker, or the boiler. What is it actually called? Hold on. Casting boiler machine is actually what this is referred to as. The steam hammer, which is right over here. The rail machine, which is the thing we just built. And then the plate machine, which is this big one. Let's really quickly power this up. Again, this is on top. You'll notice it has a red slot again, just like that one. And that the power plug is right on top, if I can get to it. There we go. And a great way to tell if these are running or not, with the exception of the steam hammer, because the steam hammer has an animation. If you put anything in the crafting basin that's IR based or is steel blocks or steel ingots, and it doesn't increase the count, it means that it's not getting enough power to heat them up. If this one is not running, if you put in a boiler plate, it will not start roll. It won't make a clanging sound, and it won't slowly kind of roll up. There's not really much animation, but it's mostly sound based with these. With this one, there'll be a sound that plays. With this one, you can actually see the rail moving, and if the rail just stops moving, it's not getting enough power, which can result in it kind of being jittery if there's kind of a low power situation. Under normal if you want to just make track, you're going to want the basin and the Railformer. If you're making any sort of normal rolling stock, you're going to want the basin and the plate machine. And then if you're making most steam and diesel require the basin. Well, actually, no, the diesel require the basin. I think they require the hammer and the plate machine. And if it's steam, you need the plate, steam hammer, boiler machine, and the crafting basin. There we go. And I'll kind of explain that a bit better in depth in the next video, or actually in the third video, because the next video is actually dealing with track. So get kind of hype with that. I will clarify that the track that I will be explaining how it works is the current version of IR as of recording this that is stable. That means this is pre-code rewrite for the track, so we don't have the flex track as of this tutorial. However, I will be making another video once that's fully released on how to deal with the flex track and how that all works. So until the next video, I bid you adieu. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, maybe a comment if you want to see more videos like this, or you want to get notified when the next tutorial video comes out. Make sure to hit that little bell icon so you get an email. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.